Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another Star Wars Bad Batch review. It's a little late, I meant to do this last Friday, but I got a bit distracted. I figured I'd try and rewatch the episode, which I've just done. So anyway, the Bad Batch. It continues off where the Clone Force 99, otherwise known as the Bad Batch, go to the planet, Saklamona, which I think was the destination of J8's thing, and for those who might remember Saklamina, it's first appeared in Revenge of the Sith, in which one of those Jedi got gunned down by a speed biker, and I think Quillen Voss was also supposed to be there and stuff. But yeah, let's see, and and then for the Clone Wars, it is where you had the 2 episodes of season 2 in which Grievous appeared in, and that means that we get the return of Cut. But anyway, before we get into that, let's see, the Bad Batch land, and we get Omega, experiencing, entirely different planet for the first time, other than Kamino. That's the way she touches the dirt. I think that was a nice touch. And eventually they arrive at the farm where the Laquarans are, in which, for those who remember, it's the home of the deserted clone that Rex encountered in the second season of the Clone Wars, and his Twi'lek family. And this is who the Bad Batch are referring to as their friend, who was like a deserter and knew how to hide from the enemy and stuff, which I like how Tech points out to Echo that we're deserters now when he was questioning this. So yeah, they end up having a bit of a talk, and the Cut informs the Bad Batch, who appear to have a unknown history together. I guess Rex might have told them about them and all that stuff, because apparently at least Hunter was there, though he's no longer there. It's revealed that Rex was there just the day before, informing them the current situation with the Galactic Empire and what happened with the clones and the inhibitor chips and Order 66, which this is also the first time that the members of the Bad Batch learned about the chips in their brains, though Omega knew. And Tech thought it was pretty obvious, so he didn't tell. But yeah. Anyway, we end up seeing the two Twi'lek kids, Jet Lawquane and Sharice Lawquane, who are looking much older, and a lot more. I'd say a lot more. She's looking a lot more blue, I should say, because, well, granted, she still has those sort of like skin mark, grey like marks on her. I guess might be just change of animation or just sign of her maturing. I mean, these two are Twi'lek human hybrids, so I guess that's a symptom of being a Twi'lek human-born hybrid, I guess. But who knows? I'm not really good with Star Wars biology, and I'm not getting into any race stuff. But yeah, just in case I might end up sounding controversial. But yeah, anyway. Let's see. Jet and Sue are planning to get off Saklamina, since the Empire has now come and all that stuff, and it's becoming a lot more secure, and it's not a safe place for his family now. Much to the suggestion of Rex. I'll admit I do like Echo's reaction to finding out Rex is alive and all that stuff. But yeah. So yeah. So let's see. So they end up going. So Hunter. The kids end up playing with Omega, who is not quite used to the idea of playing catch the ball and all that stuff. And Rex and Hunter, who is now dressed as a civilian for this, is heading into town to get some transport to a shuttle. However, when they get there, they learn that due to the Imperials docking all the ships and stuff, they're also now putting ID card stuff for let me just get up there what they call it. Landing at guest Imperial nearby town. Chain codes, yeah, that's it. They need to get chain codes for identification and that stuff. Everyone's given a number. let's see, of an Imperial also explaining it from like currency for Imperial credits and that stuff. So anyway, as we see a traveler cannot get on the docking bay as the clones are pushing them off. I have to admit, the clones are looking more and more like stormtroopers with their just completely blank white armor. But I'll get more to that later. Anyway, so they return to like the farm in which, let's see, cutting to discussing with the Bad Batch and what to do because, you know, let's see, cut to clone. He'll get discovered for treason if they, let's see, identify him. So they tried to, let's see, so Hunter and are discussing plans. Meanwhile, Omega is playing catch with the kids and throws the ball too far, goes after it, and then gets attacked by a Nexu and all that stuff, which results in the clones and the lower Axes coming to her defense. Omega getting scolded by the Hunter, but let's see, Cut being a bit more understanding and being a bit more fatherly, which leads to conclusion from Hunter to like ask Cut if he can look after Omega because he's a soldier, he's not cut out for this. All that stuff. Meanwhile, Echo and Tech, well mainly Tech, have a plan of like having a ship compounded so they could sneak in and steal like, you know, the code change and all that stuff, and they he ends up doing it. Unfortunately for them, Omega is also on the ship, so that causes a bit of a complications in what should have been a simple plan. But anyway, so now, let's see, Wrecker and Hunter, along with the, Laquainses, now have to go to the, town to quickly get, on the sea shuttles off, while the Bad Batch carry out their plan. They get chips, mostly thanks to Omega, and it's during here that Hunter tries to tell her that she's better off with the Bad Bat, with the Laquainses, but she wants to stay with them, but she ends up going with them. And they head off to the shuttles. Meanwhile, the Bad Batch fight the clones in the area. And eventually it's revealed that, Omega has left the Laquainses to come back to the Bad Batch. They escape. And in the end, we have a bit of a heartwarming moment between Hunter and Omega, where she talks how she wants to, she left Kamino and wants to stay with them. And Hunter, probably actually really wants her around, but he's probably got some stuff to learn, and the episode ends. Now, from what I can understand, this episode seems to have gotten a very mixed response from people. Some people like it, some people don't like it, feeling like this is what they feared about the Bad Batch with the introduction of Omega. It's going to be a very kid-focused thing, but I think this is just more of the episode to solidify that she's staying with the Bad Batch, and I'm fine with that. Perhaps if this episode happened towards maybe the end of the season, I could have seen her staying with the Laquainses, but that's not the case, and it seems so. It's kind of like a reverse of what happened with the Mandalorian with Grogu, Baby Yoda, the child, whatever you want to call him. But yeah. So Omega's here to stay, which I'm fine with. I quite like how she's, due to the fact she's has sheltered life on Kamino, she's a bit, she's always a bit amazed by the wildlife and the planets that she's going to visit on. A bit shy around other kids because she's never really probably interacted with other kids, I think. Which is interesting that Jet and Sharice never interacted with some. I'm pretty sure Jet is voiced by the guy who played Phil in Rugrats, but I need to confirm that. But yeah, so that was interesting. She's a bit shy around that and all that stuff. I mean, granted, the only other kids she's probably interacted with were clone cadets, and they're trained to be military soldiers. Not really something for social life, really. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, there's that. One of the things I liked is the fact that we learned that Rex was just the day before the Bad Batch arrived, which Let's see, and he's gone to inform the Quains, which is nice to see them again because I think many people have wondered what happens to this clone with the family of Twi'leks after the rise of the Empire, and we find out with this episode in which, if you're a Clone Wars fan, about. Okay. Let's see. They learn the Empire is coming. They decide to move off-world to a place where the Empire is not that well known, to find their own private land and all that stuff, which understandable. They'll probably want to get away from the Empire, particularly due to the fact one of them was a deserting clone, and as we've seen, the clones aren't exactly now fond of deserters, even more hostile than probably the Republic would have been. But yeah, I definitely like Echo's reaction to like learning that Rex was here. Because I think for the Bad Batch, they probably assumed that they were the only clones no longer under the Empire sway, but they've learned that Rex is, is alive somewhere, and it's informing them and not with the Empire, so you're probably getting like a... So this is probably going to eventually lead to when, Rex and the Bad Batch meeting, though it'll probably still be coincidences, but the Bad Batch now know that Rex is about, though granted, Rex does not know the same thing, so he might be a bit less trusting at first, but we'll see. But yeah, it's kind of nice for Echo, at least, because besides his comrades in the Bad Batch, it's the Echo's learned that there's at least one comrade he has from the 501st that's, still himself and not like programmed droid now at this point, which is nice and that stuff. I mean, it's probably going to be sad when he hears more, but I think there's going to be some touching moment between him and Rex talking about how he would not been the free clone that he is if it wasn't for Five's investigation and that stuff. Because I think one thing about the Clone Wars is that we never, just for season 7 with the Bad Batch arc, is that we never really saw Echo's reaction to the fact that Fives is now dead. So now we're putting in this, because technically Echo is now the last of the remaining Domino Squad clones that is from the Rookies episode that first got, Star Wars Clone Wars fans so invested in the clones' characters and all that stuff. So he's the last one of that group. That stuff. So I like how it shows how the Empire is just quickly taking over, doctoring their rule, particularly on Secamano, with like docking the ships, having them tracked and all that stuff, and also having code chains, numbers and all that stuff, which Echo finds ironic given how clones wanted names. Now everyone in every person now has to get a number. It's a sort of show. I guess it sort of shows the twisted times of what this galaxy has become and all that stuff. I like Ritzy, but I think the highlight for this episode, besides seeing the return of Cut, that stuff, and learning about what happened with Rex and all that stuff, is the relationship with Omega and Hunter, which is clearly a father-daughter-like relationship. Hunter, unsure of how to, raise Omega and get her and not keep her out of trouble. As Sue points out, kids will always find a way to get into trouble. Doesn't know how to handle her and all that stuff at first, so he figures, it'd be better if she stays with, Cut and his family. But she wants to stay with them, and you get like a touching moment where, they both admit that they have a lot of learn, and they're probably both going to make a lot of mistakes. And regardless, they're in this together. Damn it, I forgot. But yeah. Overall, I think I'll give this episode either 7.5 to 8 out of 10. It was a nice episode. We learned that we're getting, for Clone Wars fans, there's a bit of nostalgia with the return of the deserter Cut, and we get more hints of when the Bad Batch eventually meeting up with Rex, and them learning that he's alive, and more emphasis that Omega staying with the Bad Batch and having a father-daughter moment with Hunter and all that stuff. I don't think every episode's going to be centered on Omega, despite what some people are fearing. I mean, this is just... I think you'll probably get an individual episode of each members of the Bad Batch and all that stuff. But at the moment, I feel like, from what I can tell, the next episode is going to be a mercenary one. So you get to see more of the Bad Batch being mercenaries. Or trying to be, at least. But yeah. So overall, that's all my thoughts for this episode. I'm Blue Star Saber, signing off. May the Force be with you.